Hello, viewers. After a long time, நம்ம சேனல்ல ஒரு discussion, cricket discussion. After a while, we were thinking of doing this at the start of BGT, but we thought, okay, this is time now that the series is perfectly set up for the final two test matches. So, in the test match, pati, especially the third test match, pati பேசுறதுக்கு, we have with us a very special guest. Mr. Pattabi. அவரை பத்தி சொல்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி வெல்கம் டு த ஷோ பட்டாபி.
Yeah, thank you, Kishore. Nice to catch up with you. Yeah.
So we go back a long way. Myself, we have played I've played with Pattabi for and against as well. So it's nice talking cricket. He talks a lot of cricket. He's a cricket geek. He talks a lot of cricket. We done commentary as well together. So we'll talk about the third test match especially. ஒரு interesting test match. Pat, your initial thoughts about the third test match where there were more rain breaks than the actual sessions. So your initial thoughts, Pat?
Yeah, what I initially think is the first thought that is foremost in my mind is the fact that Indians probably earned that bit of luck, I think, through weather, I think, because of the hard yards and the gritty knock put on the table by, KL Rahul in the company of Jadeja, which was probably noticeably absent in the earlier game at Adelaide. So in cricket, of course, you and I know one has to earn on luck. And I got a feeling that because of the battling kind of displays by both these gents, weather gods probably just turned a bit kind towards India, and probably thanks to the weather, we could able to, escape with a honorable draw, I would like to think, which in the eventual analysis has kept the series alive. Aside, of course, it has probably bolstered the Indian team spirit. This draw has probably seemed like a victory of sorts, and on the other side of the coin, Australians may well feel shortchanged as well, given that they probably allowed India to escape a tiny bit because of probably an injury to Hazelwood. That aside, probably they might have well thought that they probably didn't quite, fire in unison with the ball in the second inning. So, I mean, it's just one of those things in the first innings.
Yeah. So from an Australian perspective, Pat, do you think that because I mean, there was clear signs that the weather was going to affect this test match. The forecast was for showers. So do you think that Australia were little defensive in their approach? Meaning, could they have played a little aggressively in the first innings, or did they think that let's not play the nature, let's play the test match? So do you think that Australia were lacking that urgency, especially on maybe the second day?
Yeah, you're right. The similar thought kind of crossed my head as well, because they didn't show any kind of urgency in, chalking up those quick runs. But as you said in the second observation, they probably were closely observing, given it's a home test series. They probably know the weather, and they got quality people to predict the weather as well. In a developed country, they probably wanted to bat only once, and probably had that number of around 450 or around that in their mind, so that they give themselves a honest chance of bundling India out for less than 250 is a good enough score for for a follow-on target, so to speak. And they probably reckon that might have been the reason, I would like to think.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk from an Indian's perspective now. So now that they have drawn this, then as you said, 1-1 going into the third test, do you think that do you still believe that the word momentum at this level of sport? Because we have seen so many matches when we say that this team is going in with momentum, but they lose badly in the next test. So do you believe in that word momentum? And the second part of the question is a kind of 7-8 day break. Will this help India or Australia?
Obviously, the word momentum is huge in sport, but that aside, this is a 5-match series, and it's a long-drawn series. And there's the beauty of a 5-match series, because the series is still open, notwithstanding the rain in the earlier game at Gabba. The series is very well open. Aside, of course, as you said, a bit of a break won't hurt as well, because it's a massive, huge country. And when Indians, a couple of batsmen are really going through a hellish run in terms of occupation of the crease and such other stuff, So they would like to probably utilize this time to probably unlearn and relearn, probably just build up a good muscle memory with respect to good habits, and that takes time, really, doesn't it? So in that sense, Indians will do well to use this time very, very wisely by investing a lot of time in the nets, by probably ironing out, few faults. For example, Kohli and his off stump, kind of irritation. He would like to just blank it out and really work hard, like probably playing, thousands of deliveries to probably, look to erase that bad memory and inculcate a good habit. So that takes a bit of time as well. But that said, the fact that it's a 5-match series and the fact that India has been respected by Australia lately, thanks to a wonderful good series over the past 2 decades, that's the reason why they probably look to play a 5-match series. So that's a good sign, and I can't wait for the 26th of December.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the fourth test in a while. So going back to the third test, Pat. So what do you think were the positives from an Indian's perspective? Apart from, of course, Bumrah. Bumrah is on his own, right? So he's in a different
Yeah.
league altogether. So apart from that, what else do you think were India's positives from the third test?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Bumrah, with respect to Bumrah, just to make it quick, the fact that he's come through unscathed, despite a tiny bit of a groin niggle, that's heartwarming for the Indians, because he's going to be bowling his socks off in the fourth game at the MCG as well. So one has to wrap him in cotton wool and just keep him fit. That's wonderful good news. That aside, the form of, KL Rahul, the kind of time he's invested in the middle, his ability to soak up pressure, his ability to play it really late under his lid, so to speak, his ability to not to poke deliveries outside the off stump, to wait like a vulture for the kind of patient waiting game. That's absolutely fantastic. And aside, of course, Ravi Jadeja, who couldn't do much with the ball, he probably might have felt a bit dented in confidence, given that he was low in the pecking order in terms of a solitary spinner, notwithstanding good success abroad. He was low in the pecking order. He was beneath Washington, Sundar, and Ashwin. That might have injured his pride. But the best way for any cricketer to hit back is the playing field, and which is mustered by a dogged innings of 77. Those two are wonderful, good positives.
Yeah. So let's look back. From an Australian perspective from the third test. So once again, like how Bumrah is for India, I think Travis Head is the key for Australia, right? So whenever the team is in trouble, whenever the match is in balance, his innings has always been. He's been a real headache for Team India for almost 2
Absolutely.
years now. So again, he played one of his great knocks. So what were your thoughts from looking at his innings, Pat? So why are the Indian bowlers struggling to keep head in check? Is it the way that he is batting, or India are, I felt that they're not sticking to one plan for a longish period of time. They are they're kind of keep fluctuating between the plan A, plan B, plan C. So apart from that, what else do you think? I mean, how do you stop Travis Head in the fourth test?
Yeah, Kishore, you're not alone. Actually, the similar kind of thought also crossed my mind as well. They probably were getting away from the plans, and aside, of course, without sounding too simplistic and not looking to take any credit away from Travis Head, the greatest blessing for Travis Head, if one might were to use that expression, is the fact that he's got three players at the top who all have played 50, 60 deliveries, blunted the Indian attack. Got that Kukubara ball really seriously old, in the sense that they have played best part of 25, 30 overs, and for him to come after 30 overs with a clear, unmuddled head, with kind of the kind of refreshing freedom that he plays, and by and large, Kishore, if you see, bowling to a left-hander is an art in itself. And left-handers obviously are born left-handers, and the way they get that width outside the off-stump, aside, of course, when right down over bowler is bowling, the chances of him getting LBW is also much more lesser, so to speak. So that's the rule of the game. They cash it. The clever players clash it. And as I said a minute ago, Travis has got fantastic good hands. He's got positive feet. All those things stems from a very, very positive mindset. He just, what do you call, he enjoys the challenge, and he's a boundary hitter. And obviously, as you said, he's in good form. And the real sign of a batsman in good form is the ability to find the gaps and get a lot of boundaries. So he's able to even, get a boundary of goodish delivery, let alone a bad delivery. So keeps the scoreboard moving. And as I said, the very fact that he's coming after 30 overs, He helps his cause no end. Aside, of course, he's also got that humility to tell in the press conference that he owes a lot of success to people like Labuschagne, McSweeney, and Khwaja for really blunting that attack. So he's ideally well suited to come in at number 5 when the Kookaburra ball gets relatively old, so to speak. Bowlers are a bit getting looking to probably get irritated and frustrated. And at that time, it's wonderful to have a batsman like Travis Head with that kind of free-stroking, effervescent kind of display at the batting crease. So it's absolutely fantastic for Australia to have that kind of player who's a boundary scorer and keeps the scoreboard rattling along merrily. Yeah.
So let's look ahead for the fourth test from a team in a combination perspective. So what changes do you expect from both India and Australia? Because I think for Australia, one change is for sure. Hazelwood is out of the series, so more or less it is obviously going to be Boland for Hazelwood. So do you see any other change? Do you see McSweeney, getting a longish run at the top of the order, or do you see, Mitchell Marsh, who's having a horror run? Will he be replaced by another all-rounder in Webster? Will they take that bold call and giving a debut to Webster? That is from an Australian perspective. So from also from an Indian perspective, do you see any changes that is going to happen, or are they comfortable with this combination? So from team's perspective, what are the changes that is going to, from your point of view, what are they going to, make those changes?
Yeah, with respect to Australia, they're very, very lucky to find a like-for-like replacement. Although the career figures of Hazelwood is huge and massive, given the fact that he's been in the circuit for 10 years. With respect to Boland's just 3 or 4, Boland being a Victorian and a Melbourneian, by and large gets an opportunity when one of these people cry foul and are rendered hosty combat. So in that sense, he's developed his skill as well. And as I said, he's a Melbourneian. He's had a good game against the Englishman in the Ashes as well a couple of summers ago at Melbourne as well. So he's obviously very, very lucky that the Australians have got a bowler like Boland. So to mitigate the pain and the trouble that people like Stark and Cummins might have had to undergo, so because of the longish spells they might have had to bowl, because they really bowl their socks off. They have 140 plus bowlers, and without having enough rest or respite, they are forced to come back and bowl again, and that might have probably hurt their bodies as well. So that is a huge call for Australia, huge plus. That aside, you were contemplating as to whether McSweeney will get a continuous look in. I would like to think that Australia might probably look to rejig the order a tiny bit. I really don't know. Maybe McSweeney might probably come in at number 3, or probably one of them might go to number 5, or this guy Marsh might well come in at opening or something like that. I really don't know, but the word is going to be out anytime soon. I think the selection committee is probably meeting today. Tomorrow morning papers will probably let us know as to whether they look to get that same 11 going or the same 12 going. Webster's name is also bandied about, but Australian selectors will probably look at it closely. People like George Bailey, they look at it closely and reckon that by and large, the Australian batsmen have not been getting out to poor indiscriminate shots or low percentage shots. They got now to absolute peaches and jappas bowled by Bumrah, and they will probably recognize the fact that those are good deliveries that they got out to, and they won't be so harsh to look to drop, either McSweeney or probably one another player, I think. So I think they wouldn't like to, upset the apple cart. I think by and large, I think they'll go with the same team. I think with respect to India, I really don't foresee much changes. I don't think so. I don't think Harshit Rana is going to come back. Certainly not. Akashdeep is going to continue to, enjoy his place, because he bowled very well without luck as well. And aside, of course, we all know the kind of gumption and grit that he brought to the table as a number 11. Certainly not going to be number 11 here as well in the next game. He's going to come ahead. Siraj, certainly. And jokes aside, I don't foresee too many changes as well. Not too many come to my mind as well with respect to changes. It's just one of those ironies that Ashwin has packed his bags and headed home already. Reached Chennai, just one of those ironies. I would have personally thought that he would have probably allowed himself a chance to stay with the ship at least till Melbourne and Sydney, and who knows, it could well have been different, because historically, if you see, Sydney provides a lot of support to the spinners, and it's just one of those ironies, I suppose, that Ashwin has packed his bags and come back. That's another matter, entirely another matter. Like you and me, I'm sure he's going to be, jumping the alarm and probably looking to be in front of the television set at 10 to 5, I think, Indian time, probably come at 26th December.
I think in one of his speeches that he said that the cricketer in me
Yeah,
might have gone for now, but the cricket nut that I am, I think he'll be
yeah,
the first to
absolutely.
switch on the TV and watch how the match goes on. Yeah, thank you so much, Pat. Thanks for a wonderful
Pleasure,
time.
Kishore. Yeah,
So yeah, so let's wait for the test to. Yeah, as you said, I can also can't wait for the Boxing Day, right? So we'll
absolutely. Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah, so viewers, we'll do one more session after the fourth test ends. Thank you so much.
Sure, Kishore. Nice catching up with you. Thank you.